Your pulse spiked when I got close. Should I begin the mating process? Asterisk Marcus wiped the grease from his hands as the desert wind howled outside his workshop. Living alone 20 miles from the nearest town suited him perfectly. Oh, no neighbors. Meant no drama, just him and his collection of broken machines that he somehow always managed to fix. The night sky erupted in violet light. Something streaked across the darkness, burning bright against the stars before crashing into the canyon. Behind his property, the impact shook his entire cabin, rattling tools off their hooks and sending his coffee mug tumbling to the floor. Tss, he muttered, grabbing his flashlight and jacket. Most people would have called the authorities, but Marcus had learned long ago that sometimes the best discoveries came from minding your own business first. He climbed into his old truck and drove toward the crash site. Following the trail of scorched earth and twisted metal, the crater was massive, easily 50 feet across. At its center lay something that definitely wasn't from around here. Craft looked organic, like a giant seed pod made of silver and blue. Metal that seemed to pulse with its own inner light. Steam hissed from cracks in its hull. Through one of the larger openings, Marcus could see movement, something alive inside. Every instinct told him to back away, to call the military and let them handle whatever had just fallen from space. But then he heard it, a soft whimper unmistakably. Distressed, he crept closer, flashlight beam dancing across the alien metal. Inside the craft, curled up and barely conscious, was a woman. At least she looked like a woman. Her skin had a faint blue shimmer, and her hair cascaded in waves of deep purple. Delicate ridges ran along her temples. Her ears came to elegant points. She was beautiful in a way that made his chest tight. "Hey," he called softly. "Can you hear me?" Her eyes fluttered open, revealing irises that swirled like galaxies. They focused on him with obvious confusion and something that might have been fear. She tried to speak, but only strange musical sounds emerged from her lips. Marcus made a decision that would change everything. He reached into the craft, careful not to cut himself on the jagged metal, and gently lifted her out. She was lighter than she looked, and her skin was warm despite the cool night air. She mumbled something in her alien language as he carried her to his truck, her head lolling against his shoulder. Whatever she was, wherever she came from, she needed help. Back at his cabin, Marcus laid her on his couch and covered her with a blanket. Her breathing was shallow but steady. Strange symbols glowed faintly on what looked like a device attached to her neck. "Okay," he said to himself, "you've officially lost your mind, Marcus. You're harboring an alien in your living room." But as he watched her sleep, something stirred in his chest that he hadn't felt in years. Protectiveness, curiosity, and something deeper he couldn't quite name. Whatever happened next, there was no going back now. Marcus woke to the sound of his coffee maker beeping and the distinct feeling that he wasn't alone. He padded to the kitchen in his boxer shorts and froze. The alien woman stood by his window, studying the sunrise with intense focus. She'd somehow figured out how to work his coffee maker, and 2 steaming mugs sat on the counter. Of his flannel shirts, which hung loose on her slender frame, and nothing else. "Morning," he said carefully. She turned, and those galaxy eyes fixed on him with uncomfortable intensity. The device on her neck pulsed once, and when she spoke, her words came out in perfect English. "Your cardiovascular system elevated significantly when you observed my state of undress," she said matter-of-factly. "Your pupils dilated, skin temperature increased, and there's visible evidence of arousal. Are these indicators that you find me acceptable for mating purposes?" Marcus choked on air. "What? No? Yes, you're beautiful, but that's not how this works." She tilted her head, studying him like a fascinating specimen. "Please explain the correct protocol. On my world, when 2 compatible beings show physical interest, they simply proceed with bonding. Humans are more complicated than that," Marcus managed, grabbing a coffee mug to have something to do with his hands. "We usually start with talking, getting to know each other." "What's your name?" "I am called Zara. I am a xenobiologist studying reproductive and emotional behaviors across different species." She paused, then added, "You are my first human subject." "Subject, research participant," she corrected quickly. Though your responses are particularly fascinating, when I moved closer just now, your pulse increased by 37%. Marcus backed up a step. You can hear my heartbeat, among other things. Your species broadcasts emotions through multiple biological channels. It's quite loud, actually. Zara moved closer, and Marcus found himself pressed against the kitchen counter. May I conduct a simple experiment? Depends on the experiment. Without waiting for a clearer answer, she reached out and placed her palm flat against his chest. Her touch sent electricity through his entire nervous system. Fascinating, she murmured.
Ouch.
Your heart rate just doubled. And this scent you're producing, it's designed to attract potential mates, isn't it? Humans don't have mating sense, Marcus protested weakly. You do. Very subtle, but definitely present. It's making my own biology respond in unexpected ways. She looked up at him, confusion flickering across her features. I was sent here to study, to remain objective. But proximity to you is affecting my judgment centers. Marcus couldn't breathe properly with her so close. Maybe we should establish some boundaries. Boundaries, she repeated, testing the word. Yes, your species seems fond of artificial barriers. But tell me, Marcus, when you rescued me last night, what motivated that action? You needed help. Why risk exposure to unknown pathogens or hostile technology? Why not alert your authorities? Marcus found himself staring at her lips. Because you looked scared and alone? Because leaving you there would have been wrong? Zara's expression softened. On my world, we would call that behavior pre-bonding. Protection instinct? You claimed me as yours to protect before we even communicated. I didn't claim anything, didn't you? She stepped back, giving him space to breathe. You brought me to your den, covered me with materials carrying your scent, and positioned yourself as my guardian. By Kalari standards, we're already pair-bonded. Marcus rubbed his face. Well, we're not on your world. Here, relationships take time to develop. How much time? Weeks? Months? Sometimes years. Zara looked genuinely horrified. Years. But the biological indicators are already present. What purpose does delay serve? Getting to know each other. Building trust. Making sure you're compatible. Beyond just physical attraction. And during this extended evaluation period, do you suppress your obvious desire for me? Marcus nearly dropped his coffee. Zara, you can't just ask people things like that. Why not? Inefficient communication leads to poor decision-making. She paused, studying his expression. Though I notice your discomfort levels spike when I'm direct about attraction. It's discussing mating taboo among your kind. It's not taboo, just ... private. Personal. But you are attracted to me. Marcus met her gaze. Yes, very much. But that doesn't mean we jump straight to the physical stuff, Zara nodded slowly. I see. So humans prefer psychological bonding before physical bonding. Fascinating. Very well, Marcus. I accept your cultural parameters. Teach me how humans fall in love. 3 days passed like a fever dream. Zara proved to be an eager student of human behavior, though her methods of learning remained unconventionally direct. Explain the purpose of this ritual, she said, watching Marcus cook breakfast. It's not a ritual. I'm making eggs. But you could consume nutritional paste more efficiently. Why engage in this elaborate preparation process? Marcus flipped the eggs carefully. Because it tastes better. Because the process is relaxing. It's because sharing a meal someone prepared for you is a way of showing care. Ah, so food preparation is actually social bonding disguised as sustenance gathering. When you put it like that, it sounds calculated. All bonding behaviors serve evolutionary purposes, Zara said, then paused. Though I admit, watching you perform domestic tasks is triggering responses I don't entirely understand. Marcus glanced at her. She sat curled in his kitchen chair wearing another of his shirts, her purple hair catching the morning light. What kind of responses? Warmth in my chest cavity? Desire to remain in proximity, even when no data gathering is occurring. What humans might term ... contentment. She looked almost surprised by her own words. That's called being happy, my people. Eliminated such inefficient emotions generations ago. Yet proximity to you seems to be reactivating dormant neural pathways. Right. She accepted the plate he offered, their fingers brushing. Is it normal for bonding candidates to experience such rapid psychological changes? When there's chemistry? Yeah, it can happen fast. Chemistry, she repeated. An appropriate term. Our biological systems are definitely reacting to each other. They ate in comfortable silence until Zara spoke again. Tell me about human pair bonding rituals. How do you progress from initial attraction to committed partnership? Marcus nearly choked on his coffee. Well, usually there's dating, spending time together, learning about each other's interests and backgrounds. We are spending time together. Yeah, but under unusual circumstances. Normally you'd go out places together. Movies, restaurants, walks in the park. Demonstrate, Zara said simply. Demonstrate what? Take me on a date. Marcus looked around his isolated cabin. We're 20 miles from the nearest town, and you're technically an undocumented alien. Our options are limited. Then be creative. An hour later, Marcus found himself setting up a blanket in his backyard, while Zara watched with obvious curiosity. He'd managed to rig his old radio to run off a car battery, and soft music drifted across the desert landscape. A picnic, he explained, unpacking sandwiches and cold drinks. Outdoor dining, usually romantic. Zara settled beside him on the blanket, her thigh brushing against his. And this promotes bonding how? Relaxed environment, no distractions, opportunity for conversation. Marcus handed her a sandwich. Tell me about your world. Kaylor is efficient. Our cities are precisely planned, our lives predetermined based on genetic compatibility and societal needs. I was selected for xenobiology because my neural patterns showed curiosity about other species. Sounds lonely. Loneliness is an inefficient emotion. We eliminated it along with love, jealousy, and heartbreak. She paused. Though I'm beginning to understand why your species retains them. Why's that? Because without the possibility of loss, nothing has value. Without loneliness, connection means nothing. Without heartbreak. She looked at him directly. Without heartbreak. Love is just biological programming. Marcus felt something shift in his chest. You're learning fast. I have an excellent teacher. Zara lay back on the blanket, looking up at the sky. On Kaylor, I studied theoretical bonding patterns. But being here with you, I'm experiencing them firsthand. And what do you think? I think, she said softly, that my people gave up something precious when we chose efficiency over emotion. Marcus lay down beside her, close enough to feel the warmth radiating from her skin. Emotions are messy. They make everything complicated. Yes, Zara agreed, but they also make everything beautiful. They spent the afternoon like that, sharing stories and slowly bridging the gap between their worlds. As evening approached, Zara grew quiet. What's wrong? Marcus asked. My people will come, looking for me soon. When they do, they'll expect me to return with my research complete. And if you don't want to go back? Zara turned to face him, her expression vulnerable in a way he hadn't seen before. Then I would be choosing individual desire over collective duty. It would make me selfish by their standards. Maybe selfish isn't always wrong. Is that what you would choose? Individual happiness over responsibility? Marcus reached out, brushing a strand of purple hair from her face. For the right person, yeah? I think I would. Something shifted in Zara's expression, and she leaned closer. Marcus, yeah?
I believe.
I'm beginning to understand why humans kiss. Why's that? Because words aren't sufficient for this feeling. Their lips met soft, tentative, electric. When they finally broke apart, both were breathing hard. So, Marcus whispered against her. Forehead, how was that for human bonding behavior? Highly effective, Zara murmured. I recommend immediate additional research. Marcus woke to Zara's hand over his mouth and her voice urgent in his ear. Don't move. Don't speak. They're here. Through the bedroom window, he could see lights moving in the distance. Vehicles. Multiple ones. Approaching fast across the desert floor. Who? He whispered. Your military. They've been scanning for the crash signature. Zara was already pulling on clothes, her movements efficient and panicked. We have maybe 10 minutes before they reach the cabin. Marcus rolled out of bed, mind racing. The truck's in the garage. We can take the back trails, head deeper into the desert. They'll have satellite tracking, thermal imaging. Running will only delay the inevitable. You got a better idea? Zara paused, something conflicted flickering across her face. Could surrender. Tell them I'm a refugee, that my ship malfunctioned. They'd take me for study, but you'd be safe. Like hell. Marcus grabbed her shoulders. We're not splitting up, Marcus. Be logical. If they find us together, they'll assume you're compromised. You'll disappear into their black sites just like me. Then we don't let them find us. The sound of helicopters echoed across the canyon, growing louder. 5 minutes, Zara said. Marcus threw essential supplies into a backpack while Zara did something to the device on her neck. Strange symbols flickered across its surface. What are you doing? Scrambling my biosignature. Not much. She looked at him with those galaxy eyes. Marcus, once we run, there's no going back to your old life. I know. You'll be a fugitive in your own world, I said. I know. Why? She asked desperately. Why would you sacrifice everything for someone you've known less than a week? Marcus cupped her face in his hands. Because in less than a week, you've become everything. The helicopters were close now, maybe 2 miles out. They slipped out the back door and into the garage. Marcus's truck coughed to life, and they rolled out into the desert with headlights off, navigating by starlight and memory. They're tracking heat signatures, Zara said, monitoring something on her wrist device. 3 ground vehicles, 2 aircraft. Standard. Search pattern. How long until they realize we're gone? They're already realizing it. Searchlights swept across the desert behind them, methodical and relentless. Marcus pushed the truck harder, following barely visible tracks deeper into the wasteland. There's an old mining complex about 40 miles north. Underground tunnels, lots of places to hide. And after that, I don't know. We figure it out as we go. Zara was quiet for a long moment. On Kalar, we have a saying, roughly translated. It means love is the most dangerous form of logic. Sounds about right. I never understood it before. She reached over, taking his hand. But choosing to protect someone over protecting yourself defies all rational analysis. Welcome to being human. A helicopter passed overhead, searchlight cutting through the darkness. They were maybe a mile away, close enough that Marcus could hear the rotors chopping air. They're gaining, Zara said. Marcus spotted a narrow canyon to their left and yanked the wheel hard. The truck bounced and scraped over rocks, but the canyon walls hid them from aerial view. This is insane, Zara muttered. We're 2 people running? From the most powerful military on your planet. David versus Goliath. David had divine intervention. Maybe we'll get lucky. Zara squeezed his hand tighter. Marcus, if they catch us, ... they won't. But if they do, I need you to know something. Her voice was soft, vulnerable. What I told you about studying human bonding behaviors? That stopped. Being researched days ago, Marcus glanced at her. When the moment you chose to protect me over your own safety, no one has ever done that for me before. She paused. I think what I'm experiencing is what humans call love. The word hung between them, powerful and terrifying. I love you too, Marcus, said simply. Ahead, the old mining complex rose from the desert like a skeleton. Rusted equipment and abandoned. Buildings offered shelter, but also the possibility of becoming trapped. This is it, Marcus said, cutting the engine. From here, we disappear. As they gathered their supplies and prepared to vanish into the maze of tunnels and ruins, searchlights appeared on the horizon behind them. The hunt was just beginning. The abandoned mining tunnels stretched deep underground, a maze of darkness and forgotten dreams. Marcus led Zara through passages he'd explored as a teenager. Back when adventure meant something different than running for your life. How long? Can we stay hidden? Zara asked, her voice echoing off stone walls. Long enough. Marcus hoped he sounded more confident than he felt. These tunnels connect to natural cave systems. Miles of them. They'd been underground for 6 hours. Above them, the search continued, helicopters, ground teams, thermal scanners. But the old mines ran deep, and the earth itself provided shelter. Zara suddenly stopped walking. Marcus. Is it my people are here? Here? How do you know? She tapped the device on her neck. Proximity alert. A Kalari ship just entered your atmosphere. Marcus felt his stomach drop. They came for you. No. Zara's expression was grim. They came because Earth's military is creating too much electromagnetic noise. All this searching, all these satellites and scanners focused on one location, it's like a beacon advertising that something alien crashed here. So what happens now? Standard protocol. They retrieve me, eliminate any evidence of contact, and classify Earth as a contaminated study site. Eliminate evidence meaning memory wipes for anyone who encountered me. Worse, if the contamination is too widespread. Marcus grabbed her shoulders. How widespread are we talking? Anyone within a 50-mile radius of the crash site, the nearest town. Thousands of innocent people. You have to warn them, Marcus said. Warn them about what? That aliens are coming to erase their memories? Who would believe that?
Ben.
We stop it. Zara stared at him.
Stop it.
Marcus, my people have technology beyond your comprehension. We can't fight them. Maybe not, but we can try. Something shifted in Zara's expression. Determination replacing despair. There might be a way. Tell me. If I formally request asylum, claim refugee status under interspecies law, they'd have to hear my case before taking action. And during that hearing, I could argue that Earth humans aren't a contamination risk. That your species is ready for contact. Marcus felt a spark of hope. Would that work? Maybe. If I had proof that human-Kalari bonding was successful, that our species could coexist peacefully. You mean us? I mean us. Zara reached up, touching his face. But Marcus, making that argument means I could never go home. I'd be exiled permanently. And if you don't make it, they'll take me back, wipe the memories of everyone who met me, and Earth gets quarantined for another 1,000 years. The choice was impossible. Ask the woman he loved to sacrifice everything for people she'd never met, or watch thousands of innocent lives get erased. What do you want to do? Marcus asked. I want to stay with you. I want to build something real between our worlds. But I need to know you understand what we're risking. Marcus pulled her close. I understand, and I'm with you. Whatever happens. Zara smiled, brilliant and brave. Let's go save your world. They emerged from the tunnels as dawn broke across the desert. In the distance, a ship unlike anything Marcus had ever seen hung motionless in the sky. Elegant, massive, clearly not from Earth. That's them, Zara said. How do we make contact? We don't. They make contact with us. She activated her neck. Device sending some kind of signal. I just requested formal audience. The response was immediate. A beam of soft light enveloped them both, and Marcus felt the strangest sensation of weightlessness. Teleportation, Zara explained as the desert disappeared around them. They materialized on what had to be the ship's bridge. Beings that looked similar to Zara, but with silver skin and cold expressions surrounded them. One stepped forward clearly. Their leader, xenobiologist Saravel Kethron, the leader said in a voice like crystalline ice. You were reported lost. I survived the crash, Commander. I've been conducting extended field research. The commander's gaze shifted to Marcus. With this primitive, this human, Zara corrected firmly. And my research shows that Terrans are far more advanced than our initial assessments indicated. Impossible. Our scans show typical pre-contact civilization. No evidence of spaceflight capability, rudimentary technology. Your scans don't measure what matters, Zara said. Their capacity for growth, for adaptation, for emotional complexity that rivals our own. Emotional complexity is weakness. Is it? Zara moved closer to Marcus, taking his hand. This human risked everything to protect me. Not for genetic compatibility, not for logical benefit, but because he chose to value my life over his own safety. Can any Kalari make that claim? Murmurs rippled through the assembled aliens. Furthermore, Zara continued, our bonding has been successful. Human and Kalari psychology are not only compatible, we complement each other. They have what we lost when we eliminated emotion. We have what they need to reach their full potential. You speak of individual bonding, irrelevant to species-wide assessment? Then test it. Give me 1 year to establish a proper study. Let me prove that humans are ready for contact. Commander considered this, and if you fail, then you proceed with standard contamination protocols. And if you succeed, then Earth becomes the first world in 3 millennia to achieve peaceful first contact. Silence stretched across the bridge. Marcus could feel the weight of history balancing on this moment. Finally, the commander spoke. 1 year, but you will be monitored. Any sign that human knowledge is spreading beyond acceptable parameters. And we intervene immediately. Understood. And Zeral Belkethrin, if you fail, exile will be the least of your punishments. The teleportation beam activated again, returning them to the desert. The ship vanished as silently as it had arrived. Marcus and Zara stood alone in the early morning light, holding hands and holding their breath. So, Marcus said eventually, we just bought ourselves a year to prove that love can bridge the gap between worlds. No pressure at all, Zara replied with a shaky laugh. Think we can do it? Zara looked at him with those galaxy eyes, full of hope and determination, and love, with you? I think we can do anything. Above them, the sky was brightening, full of infinite possibilities.